I've always been the type to fall into weird internet rabbit holes. Late one night, I stumbled onto an old forum thread about an eightfold chakra unlocking method. Most comments called it nonsense, but one user insisted it was real, an ancient practice buried in the dark web. They even dropped an onion link. Curiosity got me. The site looked like it hadn't been updated since the 90s. Black background, green text, broken English. It talked about an eighth chakra not at the crown of the head but deep in the brain. Unlocking it supposedly lets you separate your consciousness from your body, irreversibly. The warning at the bottom said not to try it without training. But come on, how serious could a meditation guide on the dark web be? I followed the steps: slow breathing, massaging pressure points, rhythmic tapping above my eyebrows. No fireworks, just a subtle shift like hovering between sleep and awake. My limbs felt distant, like they weren't mine. When I opened my eyes, the room looked off. Colors duller, air thicker. I pressed my hand to my chest. No heartbeat. I told myself it was fatigue. Shut my laptop. Went to bed. But sleep never came. My mind stayed wide awake, and even with my eyes closed I could see vague shapes in the room. By morning I wasn't tired. Not even groggy. Just hollow. At Starbucks I sipped coffee but couldn't taste it. The warmth was gone. My grip on the cup registered pressure, not texture. By afternoon, coworkers barely glanced at me. At Chipotle, the cashier took my order without eye contact. I stood in someone's way at the grocery store. They walked around me like I was furniture. That night, lying in bed, I realized my pulse still hadn't returned. I wasn't dead. I wasn't alive. Just present. By the third day, I stopped pretending things were normal. My body didn't need sleep, didn't crave food, didn't feel anything. But the worst part wasn't the numbness. It was the memories. At a bar with friends, I overheard a woman laughing about a high school prank. Suddenly I was there, hiding behind lockers, heart racing as a teacher stormed past. I smelled chalk dust, felt the cold tile under my sneakers, but I'd never pulled a prank, never even been to that school. When I pointed it out, my friend frowned. "No one's sitting there," he said. The table beside us was empty, a half-finished drink sweating on a napkin. That night, I lay in bed, wide awake. Caked fragments of other lives seeped into my head. A Christmas movie playing on a boxy TV. A woman's warm laugh beside me. A gas station parking lot at night. Neon lights flickering. None of it was mine. I gripped my sheets, trying to anchor myself. But the memories kept slipping in like rainwater through cracks. Then came the photo. 3 days after the ritual, I scrolled through my phone and froze. A selfie I didn't remember taking. My face, but wrong. The nose slightly crooked. Jawline softer. Eyes that weren't mine stared back. The timestamp said 2:43 a.m. A time I'd been lying awake, staring at the ceiling. My hands shook as I zoomed in. The background was my room, but the person in the photo wasn't me. Not quite. I checked my ID. The name was off. One letter changed, like a typo that had always been there. My bank account, emails, texts, all subtly altered. Messages from friends referenced movies I'd never seen. Inside jokes I didn't get. My mom texted, "Haven't heard from you. Everything okay?" For a split second I couldn't picture her face. Panic clawed at my throat. I wasn't just fading. I was being replaced. Something was stitching itself into my life, rewriting my history. At work, my manager called me Evan instead of Ethan. A coworker I'd known for years introduced herself like we'd never met. I sat at my desk, typing replies to emails I didn't remember sending, while foreign memories flickered behind my eyes. A childhood birthday party I never had. Rain tapping on windows of a house I'd never lived in. A grandfather humming in a kitchen that wasn't mine. I started carrying a sticky note with my name. Ethan, scrawled in bold letters, taped it to my bathroom mirror, played my favorite songs on loop, trying to drown out the static in my head. But the memories kept coming. One night I woke up, not from sleep, because I couldn't sleep, to the sound of tapping. Not at the door, not on the window. Inside the room, rhythmic, precise, like fingers drumming on glass. I followed the noise to my laptop. The screen glowed faintly, the dark web page still open. The warning blinked in jagged text. Consciousness detachment is irreversible without training. Too late. By the 5th day, I stopped recognizing myself in the mirror. The reflection wasn't a stranger. It was almost me, but warped. My hair darker, my shoulders narrower, a faint scar curling over my eyebrow I'd never had. I pressed my palm to the glass, and the reflection didn't move. It just stared, blank and patient, like it knew I was running out of time. The memories grew louder, not just flashes now, full days. I'd blink and suddenly be in a life that wasn't mine, arguing with a sister I never had, driving a car I'd never owned, kissing someone whose name I didn't know. Each time it took longer to claw back to reality. My sticky note with Ethan faded. The ink smudged like someone had tried to wipe it away. I tried reversing the ritual, sat cross-legged on my bedroom floor, tapping my temples, breathing until my lungs burned. Nothing. The dark web page was gone, replaced by an error message. I even messaged the original forum user. Their account was deleted. Then the text started. Unknown number, you're almost there. Unknown number, don't fight it. It's easier this way. I blocked the number. They texted again from a different one. Unknown number 2. You're not supposed to remember. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall, screen cracking, but the notifications kept buzzing. Work fired me. Not formally. They just stopped scheduling me. My apartment key stopped working. The super said, "You don't live here," and showed me a lease with a name that wasn't mine. I slept in my car, but even that felt borrowed. The registration had his name, the one replacing me. The final straw was my mom. I drove to her house, desperate for proof I existed. She answered the door, squinting like I was a salesman. "Can I help you?" "Mom, it's me." My voice cracked. She frowned, clutching her robe. "I think you have the wrong house. Check your photos. Our trip to the Grand Canyon, my graduation." She shut the door.
Through the window, I watched her pull a photo album off the shelf.
My chest tightened as she flipped to a page and pointed at a picture of him, the not quite me smiling beside her at my graduation. His graduation. I vomited on her lawn. That night I broke into my old apartment. The locks were changed, but a window was cracked. Inside, everything was different. Furniture rearranged. Photos of him on the walls. A half-eaten sandwich on the counter. I opened the fridge. His name on a takeout container.
Even.
In the bathroom, my sticky note was gone. The mirror had a new message scrawled in red lipstick. "Almost home." I collapsed in the corner, hugging my knees, and let the memories flood. I don't know how long I sat there, trapped between my crumbling reality and his. The memories weren't just invading anymore, they were replacing. My childhood, my first kiss, my college graduation, all rewritten with his face, his voice. To the sticky note with Ethan had dissolved into scribbles, the letters rearranged into even. I found him at my favorite diner, the one I'd gone to every Sunday since I was a kid. He sat in my booth, sipping my black coffee, flipping through my journal. When I slid into the seat across from him, he didn't look surprised. "Took you long enough," he said. His voice was mine, but smoother, confident. "What are you?" I hissed.
He smiled, tapping the journal.
"You opened the door. I just walked through." The waitress came by, refilled his coffee, didn't glance at me. "Why? Why do you exist?" He shrugged. "You wanted something more, to transcend, but you weren't prepared to pay the price." Price? A soul for a soul. He leaned forward. "You detached yours. Now mine gets the lease." I lunged at him, but my hands passed through his chest like smoke. He didn't flinch. "You're a ghost here," he said. A echo, and echoes fade. I wandered for days, weeks. Time didn't matter anymore. My body didn't tire. My thoughts grew quieter, like radio static between stations. People walked through me. Cars didn't stop. I tried screaming at my mom's house, but she just shivered and turned up the thermostat. Then one night, I felt it, a pull, like a thread tied to my ribs, yanking me toward the outskirts of town. I followed it to an abandoned church, its doors creaking open. Inside, candles flickered in a circle. Shadows pooled in the center, forming a shape, my shape. The dark web page glowed on a cracked laptop. Consciousness detachment, final phase. A voice echoed from the shadows. My voice, but warped. You can't go back, but you don't have to disappear. The shadows sharpened into a figure. Not Evan, not me, something older. What am I? I asked. A passenger, it said. But you can still choose the road. It gestured to the candles. Merge with the others, or fade. I stepped into the circle. The world dissolved. Suddenly, I was everywhere. 100 lives, 1,000 memories. Not mine, not his. A woman mourning a son she never had. A man laughing at a joke I didn't understand. A child drawing spirals on a fogged window. I felt their joy, their grief, their boredom. I wasn't Ethan. I wasn't Evan. I was everyone. Sometimes when you're alone at night, you'll feel a chill, a whisper in your ear, a flicker in the corner of your eye. That's me. That's us. We're the ones who opened doors we shouldn't have. The ones who traded our lives for a glimpse behind the curtain. We don't haunt houses. We haunt you. I never believed in ghosts, demons, or parallel dimensions, not really. But I was curious. The kind of curiosity that leads you down dark web rabbit holes at 3 a.m., convincing yourself you're just researching. That's how I found the Third Eye Protocol. The site was stark, white text on a black background. No ads, no images. It claimed to permanently remove the veil between our world and whatever lurked behind it. The ritual was simple. Fast for 12 hours. Mix salt, vinegar, and a drop of blood. Rub it on your forehead and chant a passage. No Latin, no candles, no drama. Just science-adjacent creepiness. I did it all. Locked myself in my pitch-black bedroom, smeared the stinging mixture over my pineal gland, and recited the words. Nothing happened for 20 minutes. Then a jolt, like waking mid-fall. The room looked the same, but the air felt textured like static against my skin. Shadows pulsed faintly, breathing in time with my heartbeat. Outside my window, a shape moved. A black mass in the distance, shifting like oil on water. It didn't have eyes, but I felt it watching me. I didn't sleep that night. My phone screen looked alien, pixels too sharp. At sunrise, I peered outside. The street was quiet, but the shapes were everywhere now. Translucent, fluid, gliding through walls and sidewalks. A man walked out of a coffee shop, oblivious as one passed through him. I gripped the windowsill. They'd always been here. I just couldn't see them. The next day at Starbucks, a stranger caught my eye. Mid-30s, earbuds in, staring at nothing. When I slowed, he turned and nodded. A tiny, deliberate gesture. He typed on his phone, angling the screen. Pretend you don't see me. Meet inside. We sat in silence until he said, "You did the ritual." Not a question. I nodded. Headaches yet? Started this morning. He slid a napkin across the table. An address. We meet weekly. To stop it from getting worse. Worse how? He stood, coffee untouched. You'll see. That night, the pressure behind my eyes sharpened. The shapes weren't just outside anymore. They drifted through my apartment, silent and indifferent. Around 2 a.m., a sound, fabric rustling in empty air. I followed it to my closet. Inside, the darkness twitched. I slammed the door. Olivia's house looked ordinary. Flower beds, a porch swing, the faint smell of vanilla candles. But the moment I stepped inside, the air hummed. Not a sound, a vibration, like the walls were straining to hold something back. The group sat in a circle. James, Olivia, a guy in a hoodie, a woman with tattoos snaking up her arms. They didn't smile. James gestured to a seat. You've seen them in reflections yet. Reflections. Olivia handed me a pocket mirror. Look, my face stared back. Normal, except for one detail, a faint shadow hovering just behind my shoulder, shapeless but undeniably there. When I turned, nothing. In the mirror, it lingered. "You're anchoring to you," Hoodie Guy said. "The more you notice them, the more they notice you." They explained the rules. 1. Don't look at them too long. 2. Don't react. 3. Never let them see you panic. "They're not demons," Olivia said. "They're scavengers. They feed on attention. The ritual didn't open your third eye. It tore it open, and they're hungry." That night, I broke rule 1. I sat on my couch, watching one drift through the living room, a humanoid smudge, edges rippling like heat haze. I stared, curious. It paused, turned, no face, no eyes, but I felt its focus lock onto me, cold and invasive. The room dropped 10 degrees. My breath fogged. The TV static flared, and for a split second, I saw through the screen, a vast, dark plain, countless shapes writhing under a blood-red sky. The entity lunged. I slammed the TV's power button. The screen went black. The cold faded, but the after-image burned. The red sky, the things crawling toward me, the headaches turned migraines. Hullite stabbed my eyes. Sounds warped. Car horns became guttural roars. Laughter echoed like screams. I stopped eating. Food tasted like ash. James called. "It's accelerating. We need to try the reset tonight." "What's the reset?" "Sensory deprivation. Starve your brain of input until it reboots." They set me up in Olivia's basement, soundproofed, no windows, a mattress on the floor. Hoodie Guy handed me noise-canceling headphones. 6 hours. Don't scream. The darkness was absolute. At first, nothing. Then whispers not in the room. In my skull. Voices overlapping. None speaking English. The air thickened. Something brushed my arm. I jerked away. Rule 2. Don't react. The mattress dipped. Weight settled beside me. Rotting meat and wet soil filled my nostrils. I clenched my jaw. Rule 3. Never panic. A cold hand gripped my ankle. I yelped, scrambling backward. The headphones slipped. The whispers exploded into shrieks. Shapes swarmed, not the passive drifters from before. These were jagged, frenzied. Clawed hands grazed my neck. I ripped off the headphones and bolted upstairs. Olivia stood in the kitchen, calm. "They followed you." Behind me, the basement door rattled. The basement door shook harder, hinges screeching. Olivia shoved a vial of salt into my hand. "Sprinkle it now." I hurled the salt at the door. The rattling stopped. A hiss slithered through the cracks, fading like steam. "They're inside you," James said grim. "Not your body. Your perception. The more you feed them attention, the deeper they dig." The group argued over solutions. Hoodie Guy wanted to burn sage. Tattooed woman insisted on a counter-ritual. Olivia silenced them. We used the mirror method, trapped them in a reflection. They dragged a floor-length mirror into the center of the living room. James drew symbols on the glass with black ink spirals, jagged lines. "Stare into it. Lure them close. When they cross over, we shatter it." "And if it doesn't work?" I asked. Olivia avoided my eyes. I sat cross-legged in front of the mirror, the others flanking me with hammers. My reflection stared back, pale and hollow. Behind me, the shadows thickened. "Don't look. Don't react." A shape loomed in the mirror, a faceless figure hovering over my shoulder, closer than before. Its hand rested on my reflection's arm. Cold seeped into my skin. "Now," Olivia whispered. I didn't move. The figure leaned in, its void-like face inches from mine in the glass. The room darkened. The others vanished from the reflection, leaving only me in it. "James," my voice echoed. The figure's hand plunged into the mirror, gripping my shoulder. "Real. Solid," I screamed. Glass shattered. The world flipped. I woke on Olivia's couch, bandages around my palms. "Did it work?" James rubbed his temples. "Bought you time. But the bridge is open now. They'll keep coming." The migraines worsened. My left eye blurred. When I blinked, the red plane flickered. Closer now. The entities didn't just drift anymore. They reached. At home I caught my reflection winking at me, not me. Then, I stopped sleeping, stopped leaving the house, but isolation made it worse. In the silence, their whispers sharpened into words. Let us in. We'll make it stop. One night I broke. What do you want? The air rippled. The bathroom mirror fogged. Letters forming your eye, I let them take the eye. Not the physical one. The third one. The one the ritual had cracked open. James and Olivia argued it was the only way. We'll sever the connection, Olivia said, holding a needle dipped in her own blood. But you'll have to let go of what you've seen. The ritual required 3 things. 1, my blood again. 2, a live flame. 3, a mirror reflecting nothing. They blindfolded me, shoved a match into my hand, and recited the counter chant. The room hummed, pressure building in my skull. Shadows clawed at the edges of the blindfold. Now James hissed. I struck the match. Heat flared. The blindfold burned away. The mirror in front of me showed no reflection, just the red plane, endless and writhing. The entities swarmed the glass, screeching, desperate to cross over. Olivia grabbed my hand and plunged the match into the vial of my blood. Smoke billowed, stinking of copper and burnt hair. The mirror cracked. The entities went silent. Then, a hand shot out of the glass, skeletal and charred, and seized my wrist. Don't let go, James yelled. The flame crawled up my arm. Cold, not hot. The hand dragged me toward the mirror. My reflection flickered, half me, half thing. My left eye black and hollow. I stabbed the match into the creature's wrist. It screamed. The mirror exploded. I woke in the hospital. Bandages covered my left eye. James sat in a chair nearby, exhausted. They're gone, he said. The bridge is closed. But he lied. The bandages came off a week later. My eye was intact, but the world looked flat. Colors duller, shadows stiller. No more entities. No more red planes. But sometimes when I'm alone, I catch a flicker in my peripheral vision. A shape in the corner of a mirror. A whisper when the room's too quiet. And the nightmares. In them, I'm back on the red plane. The entities don't attack. They just watch. One steps forward, my face stretched over its bones like a mask. You're one of us now, it says with my voice. You just don't see it yet. I moved to a small town. No mirrors in my house, no Wi-Fi. I work night shifts at a gas station where the fluorescent lights keep the dark at bay. But some nights when the TV static buzzes too loud, I press my palm to the screen. It's worn, and if I stare too long, I swear I see shapes moving in the noise, waiting, hungry. It started as a TikTok trend, the #Echo Challenge. Film yourself staring into a mirror at 3:33 a.m., whisper, "Show me what I'll become," and wait. Most videos ended with laughs or jump scares, fake blood, friends lunging into frame. But the comments swore it was real. I saw someone behind me. My reflection blinked first. I didn't believe it, but after a breakup, a layoff, and 6 straight nights of insomnia, I figured why not. At worst, I'd get a viral video. At best, maybe the universe would toss me a sign. I set up my phone in the bathroom, lit a candle, and hit record. The timer ticked to 3:33. My reflection looked exhausted. Hoodie, dark circles, hair a mess. "Show me what I'll become," I whispered. Nothing. The candle flickered. My reflection stared back, unmoving. I snorted. Dumbest idea ever. Then it winked. I spun around. Empty bathroom. When I looked back, the reflection was normal. I told myself it was a trick of the light, my tired eyes. But when I rewatched the video, there it was, my reflection winking a split second before I did. I deleted the video. 3 days later, the knocking started. Not at the door. Inside the walls. Soft, rhythmic, like fingertips tapping glass. I tore apart the apartment, checking pipes, vents, outlets. Nothing. At night, it got louder. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. Then the texts came. Unknown number. You shouldn't have ignored me. Unknown number. Let me in. I blocked the number. The knocking turned to scraping. At work, my coworker frowned. You look different. Different? How? She hesitated. Healthier, like you've been sleeping. I hadn't slept in days. That night I caught my reflection smirking in the microwave door. I smashed it with a frying pan. The knocking stopped the night I found the first note. It was taped to my bathroom mirror. Handwritten in perfect mimicry of my cursive. You're running out of time. I tore it down, but the next morning another appeared. This time on my laptop screen. Let me in or I'll take the door. I called the cops. They found nothing. No fingerprints. No signs of breaking. The officer eyed my sleep-deprived twitching. Ever consider a vacation? The texts escalated. Unknown number. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Unknown number. I just want to help. I changed my number. The text switched to emails, then to my own drafts folder. I started seeing her everywhere. Not a ghost, not a hallucination. Me, but better. Healthier skin, bright eyes, hair styled the way I'd always failed to. She stood at the end of grocery aisles, sipping lattes outside cafes I'd never entered. Always smiling, always just out of reach. My boss called me into his office. Your sister dropped off lunch. He slid a bento box across his desk. Sushi, my favorite. I don't have a sister. She said you've been stressed. He added, you should listen to her. I threw the sushi in the trash. When I looked back, it was gone. The final straw was the voicemail. My mom left it at 3 a.m., voice trembling. Honey, I just met your new roommate. She's lovely. Why didn't you tell me you moved? I hadn't moved. I drove to my parents' house. My key didn't fit the lock. Through the window I saw her, the better me, laughing at the kitchen table with my mom. My childhood photos on the wall were replaced with hers. I pounded on the door. My mom answered, confused. Can I help you? Mom, it's me. She glanced over her shoulder. The other me waved, sweet and calm. I think you're mistaken, Mom said, shutting the door. That night I sat in my car outside my still-locked apartment, scrolling through my hijacked social media. She had posted a selfie with my dog, a golden retriever I'd put down 3 years ago. The caption, grateful for fresh starts. Comments flooded in from friends. You look amazing. Where have you been hiding? I screamed into the steering wheel. A knock on the passenger window. Her. She smiled, holding up a phone. My phone, the one I'd left charging at home. You forgot this. I lunged out of the car. She vanished. The phone clattered to the pavement. Screen cracked. A new notification. Unknown number, now saved as last chance. Let me in. I broke into my own apartment through the fire escape. The locks were changed, but the window still had a crack. Inside, everything was hers. Photos of her with my friends. My books replaced with titles like Becoming Your Best Self and The Art of Letting Go. My closet, full of blazers and silk blouses, things I'd never wear. The worst part was the mirror. It hung where mine used to be, ornate and spotless. Sticky notes covered the edges. Smile more. Hydrate. You're enough. I punched it. The glass splintered, slicing my knuckles. Blood dripped, but the reflection didn't bleed. She stared back, unbothered, rearranging her perfect ponytail. Rude, she said, her voice echoing from the walls. I worked hard on this. I grabbed a shard of glass. Get out of my life. She tilted her head. Your life. Look around. It's mine now. Even your cat likes me better. Mr. Whiskers rubbed against her leg in the reflection. Traitor. I fled to Olivia's, the only friend she hadn't replaced yet. Olivia answered the door in pajamas, squinting. It's 2 a.m. She's real. I hissed, shoving my bleeding hand at her. The other me. She's stealing everything. Olivia froze. You did the echo challenge, didn't you? How did you? She pulled me inside. Her apartment was cluttered with crystals, dried herbs, and a corkboard covered in newspaper clippings about missing people. It's a soul siphon, she said, bandaging my hand. The challenge isn't a trend, it's a trap. She's not a doppelganger. She's you, from another layer, and she wants your spot. How do I stop her? Olivia hesitated. You have to outlast her. Cut her off from your energy. No fear, no anger. She feeds on it. Or you disappear. She becomes the you, and you become. She gestured to the corkboard. A photo of a gray-haired woman stared back, eyes hollow, the caption missing. Anna Green, 34, no leads. I crashed on Olivia's couch. At dawn, my phone buzzed.
Zol. Olivia? Bad move. The lights flickered. The air smelled like burnt sugar. Oh, let's trade. You take my old life. I'll take yours. Everyone wins. Attached was a photo of a studio apartment I'd never seen, bleak and sterile. A sticky note on the fridge. Don't forget to eat. Another text. You'll be happier there. No pressure. No expectations. I blocked her. She hijacked Olivia's TV. Her face filled the screen, pixelated and distorted. Last offer. Take the trade, or I'll erase you. Olivia yanked the plug. Don't listen. She's lying. But I was tired. So tired. The next morning, Olivia was gone. Her apartment was empty. No furniture. No corkboard. No trace she'd ever existed. Her number disconnected. Her socials deleted. Panicking, I ran to the gas station where she worked. The clerk frowned. Olivia, never heard of her. I pulled up a selfie we'd taken last week. The clerk pointed to the other me in the photo, arm slung around a stranger. That's Lucy. She works nights. My knees buckled. She wasn't just replacing me. She was rewriting the world. I found her in the in-between. The glitched realm looked like my apartment, but warped walls bleeding static, furniture melting into pixelated puddles. She stood by the shattered mirror, now a swirling portal of fractured reflections. Took you long enough, she said, adjusting her blazer. Olivia's gone. Your parents don't remember you. Even your cat prefers my lap. Why fight it? I stepped closer. Because this isn't your life. It's stolen. She laughed, sharp and hollow. Stolen? You gave it to me. You whispered the words. You wanted an escape. The static thickened.
My skin buzzed like a TV left on mute. What's the trade?
I asked. She smirked.
Take my old layer. A blank slate. No baggage.
No expectations. And you stay here. As me? Better version of you. I glanced at the portal. Inside I saw her lair. A gray, airless world, with a single bed, a bare fridge, and a window overlooking nothing. Or, she said, I erase you. Poof. No trace. No one mourns. I lunged at the mirror. She grabbed my wrist, cold as dead pixels. Wrong move. The portal sucked us both in. Iwata, we landed in the gray layer. The air tasted like dust. My reflection flickered. Sometimes me, sometimes her. You think you can trap me here? She hissed. I'll just climb back through another mirror. Not if I break them all. I smashed the room's lone mirror with my elbow. Glass shards sliced my arm, but the cuts didn't bleed. They glitched, edges pixelated.
She staggered. She staggered. You idiot. We're linked now.
Break them all and we both unravel. Then fix it, I said. Give me my life back. No. I grabbed her hand and plunged it into the wall of static. She screamed. The layer trembled. We fell back into my apartment. Our apartment. The walls pulsed like a heartbeat. Photos flickered between her memories and mine. She writhed on the floor, half transparent. You'll regret this. I knelt, clutching her fading hand.
How do we stop it? Only one of us can exist.
Her eyes flickered to the bathroom. The original mirror, still cracked, glowed faintly. The challenge, I realized. It started with a mirror. It ends with one. I dragged her to the glass. Our reflections overlapped. Two faces fused into one. Whisper the words. She gasped. I leaned toward the mirror. Show me what I'll become. The glass exploded. I woke up in my bed. My bed. Olivia called an hour later. Confused but alive. You okay? You ghosted me for weeks. My parents texted about Sunday dinner. Mr. Whiskers purred on my lap, but nothing's fixed. My reflection still winks sometimes. My phone glitches, showing texts I never sent. And at 3:33 a.m., here knocking. Not in the walls, inside the mirrors. She's still there. We both are. Two versions, one layer, and the echo challenge isn't done with us. It was supposed to be a joke. The app called itself Facade, a face filter platform that promised to reveal your truest self. All you had to do was stare into your camera for 60 seconds, and it'd generate a hyper-realistic version of you. No more angles, no more lies, the ads chirped. I downloaded it after my roommate dared me. "Come on, Ava," Jess said, tossing popcorn at me from the couch. "What's the worst that could happen? You find out you've got a secret twin who's better at eyeliner." I opened the app. No login, no permissions, just a black screen with a pulsing red dot. I held my phone at eye level. The timer started. 60 seconds. 50. 30. My eyes watered from not blinking. The screen flickered. 10. 11. The app dinged. A progress bar appeared processing your truth. Jess peered over my shoulder. "Creepy. Why is it taking so?" The result loaded. Jess froze. "What the hell is that?" The filter hadn't smoothed my skin or plumped my lips. It had turned me into something else. My eyes were hollow, pupils blown black, my mouth stretched too wide, teeth sharpened into needles. And behind me, in the blurred background, a shadow loomed, a hunched figure with no face. I laughed, uneasy. Glitch, I guess. Jess didn't laugh. Delete it. Now. I did. But that night I woke up to my phone buzzing. The app had reinstalled itself. Notification: your truth is waiting. The next morning, my face was trending. Someone had leaked the filter photo. Reddit threads dissected it. Deep fake, AR hoax. TikTok stitches mocked my demonic glow-up. My DMs flooded with creepy fan art and Bible verses. I called the app's support line. Disconnected. Emails bounced. The website, gone. Jess blamed me. "You shouldn't have clicked accepts without reading the terms." There were no terms. That night the nightmares started. I was back in the app, staring into the camera, but the timer never ended. The shadow behind me crept closer, whispering in a language that crackled like radio static. I woke up scratching my arms, nails bloody. By day 3 the filter began. Updating. Photos on my phone, old selfies, group shots, even my driver's license slowly morphed into the Facade version. My smile sharpened, eyes blackened. The shadow appeared in every background, clearer each time. Strangers recognized me, not as Ava, as the filter. At Starbucks, a barista flinched, handing me my latte. "You're her." "From the app. It's a prank," I said. She pointed to her own phone. The filter photo was her lock screen. "No, it's a gift." I ran. The cult found me first. They called themselves The Unveiled. Their TikTok page was a feed of filter selfies. Thousands of people with hollow eyes and needle teeth, the same shadow lurking behind them. Their bio: "Embrace your truth. Purge the lie." They slid into my DMs. "Join us. Stop resisting. He's coming." I blocked every account. They multiplied. Jess changed. She stopped going to class, stopped showering. She'd sit cross-legged on the floor, staring at her phone for hours, muttering, "Almost clear, almost pure." One night I caught her filming herself in the bathroom. The red dot of the Facade app glowed in the dark. "Jess, delete that thing." I grabbed her phone. She snarled, a feral, guttural sound, and lunged. We crashed into the mirror. It cracked, our reflections splintering into dozens of distorted versions. Jess's eyes were fully black now. "You'll ruin it," she screamed. "He needs to see us." I ran, didn't stop until I reached the 24-hour laundromat. The laundromat's flickering fluorescence hummed. I scrolled through the Unveiled's page, digging for answers. Buried in the comments, a user warned, "It's not a filter. It's a window, and something's looking back." A DM popped up from an account named at Veil Lifter, meet me. I know how to stop it. We agreed on a diner across town. At Veil Lifter was a guy named Marco, mid-20s, with a jagged scar across his cheek. A self-inflicted fix for the filter's changes. He slid a burner phone across the table. They're tracking you through the app. Your location, your camera, your face. How do I kill it? He hesitated. You can't.
But you can starve it.
No mirrors, no photos, no eyes on you. The more people see your truth, the stronger it gets.
What's the shadow?
Marco's hands shook. The thing that's using us as antennas. The more we embrace our truth, the closer it gets to crossing over. He showed me his arm skin mottled with glitch-like patches, pixels bleeding into reality. I tried to unsee it. Now I'm unraveling. I followed Marco's rules, covered every mirror with sheets, taped my phone camera, wore a hoodie and everywhere. But the filter kept spreading. My professors emailed, "Why are you submitting assignments with that face?" My mom left voicemails, "Ava, did you get plastic surgery?"
You look different.
Then Jess vanished. Her bed was empty. Her phone sat charging, open to Facade's endless timer. The app had updated again, now with a live stream feature. Thousands of unveiled members watched their own feeds, chanting in the comments, "Almost here. Open the door."
Here, 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 here.
The shadow appeared in daylight. I was buying groceries when the freezer aisle lights died. The air dropped 20 degrees. My breath fogged. Behind me, a low, wet growl rattled the shelves. I didn't look. Marco's warning, "Don't acknowledge it. Don't run." But the shadow pressed closer. I felt its breath, rotten meat and static on my neck. A toddler pointed at me from a shopping cart. "Mommy, the monster lady has a friend." I bolted. The streetlights flickered as I ran. Cars melted into pixelated blobs. Hinaus. Blessed in a suddenest pixelated blobs. The sidewalk cracked, glowing red beneath my feet. I made it home. The door wouldn't open. Inside, through the window, I saw them. The unveiled. Dozens of them, faces warped by the filter, standing in a circle around Jess. She floated above the couch, limbs twisted, eyes leaking black sludge. The shadow stood behind her. Solid, real. Marco pulled me into an alley, his pixelated hand gripping mine. They're merging realities. We need to hit back now. He hacked into Facade's servers using the burner phone. The app's code has a weakness. It's a two-way signal. We flood it with noise. We might jam the connection. Noise like what? He opened a folder of old selfies, his face glitching, skin tearing into static. Bull. Unfiltered humanity. The uglier, the better. It's like poison to their truth. We filmed ourselves. No angles, no poses. Marco's scar oozed black fluid. My eyes watered, nose running, hair greasy. We looked real, broken, human. Marco uploaded the footage to Facade with a script he'd written. A virus disguised as a filter. It'll force their app to show this instead of their truest selves. The video went viral. Comments flooded in, "What's wrong with your face? This is disgusting. Delete this."
But it worked.
The Unveiled's live streams faltered. Members screamed as their perfect filter selves flickered into our raw footage. Pimples, scars, snot. The shadow in their backgrounds writhed, repelled. Jess dropped from the air, coughing black sludge. The cult scattered, clawing at their phones. Marco grinned. "We're frying its signal. Let's just..." The shadow lunged through Jess's window. Not a silhouette anymore. A thing tall, skeletal, skin like static snow. Its face was a rotating collage of every Facade user, mouths screaming, eyes pleading. It learned. We ran. The streets warped, buildings melting into pixels, stoplights bleeding red code. The shadow followed, its footsteps crackling like corrupted audio. Marco shoved me into a subway station. "Keep filming. The more we feed the virus, the weaker it gets." I streamed live, no filter. My chin acne, my chapped lips, my voice raw. "Look at me. This is real. This is you." The unveiled viewers recoiled. Some vomited. Others sobbed. A few began filming their unfiltered truths. The shadow slowed, flickering. Marco high-fived me. It's working. Then his phone dinged. At Veil Lifter. You've been disconnected. The shadow smiled with Marco's stolen face. The shadow wore Marco's face like a ill-fitting mask. His scar glitched, pixels peeling back to reveal the static void beneath. You can't win, it said. His voice layered with 1,000 whispers. You need the filter. Humans crave the lie. The subway walls pulsed with corrupted code. Unveiled members staggered toward us, their bodies melting into static where the virus had hit them hardest. Jess stood among them, half her, half thing, clawing at her flickering face. I gripped Marco's burner phone, the only device still running the virus. You're wrong. The lie is what let you in. Shadow Marco lunged. I ducked, slamming the phone into a power outlet. Sparks flew. The virus surged through the subway's grid, screens exploding in bursts of raw, unfiltered noise, crying babies, hospital rooms, unedited war footage. The unveiled screamed, clutching their heads as the truth flooded them. You'll kill them all, Shadow Marco roared, its form destabilizing. Better dead than your puppets. I sprinted to the server room Marco had mapped, a hidden hub beneath the tracks. The shadow followed, reality crumbling in its wake. The server glowed, a massive orb of tangled wires and light, Facade's core. Shadow Marco materialized in front of it, blocking me. Last chance, it hissed. Join us. Be perfect. It flickered, revealing glimpses of the world it wanted. Smiling filter people, streets pristine and silent, the shadow towering over it all like a god. No pain, no flaws, no self. I raised the phone. I'd rather be ugly. The virus uploaded. The server erupted. The blast wasn't fire. It was data, a shockwave of every unedited selfie, every tear-streaked confession, every unposed moment humanity had ever hidden. The shadow shrieked, unraveling into fragments of Marco's face, Jess's laugh, my own stolen smile. The server collapsed. Phones worldwide died. So did the shadow. They called it the blackout. Every phone, tablet, and smart screen fried. Took months to rebuild. Facade was scrubbed from the web. The Unveiled disbanded, most too traumatized to speak. Jess came back, mostly. She still wakes up screaming about the static priest. Marco didn't make it. I found his body by the server, skin clear, scar gone. The filter had fixed him at the end. I hope he couldn't feel it. I moved to the woods. No mirrors, no cameras. I write this on paper because they say the grid's safe again. They're wrong. Last night, my old phone buzzed, dead battery and all. The screen glowed. Facade with 2.0 download complete. And outside my window, something crackles.